Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today for our first ever digital quarantine episode, Sean Mullavey.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
What's up, Sean? Happy to have you, dude.
So today, you got me on here to do what? We're talking about
Captain Marvel, the 2019 movie. You had a hard time coming up with one. You kept throwing out answers to movies that to the ones that people had seen and talked about on the show before, which is easy to do given we've done over 200 of these by now. But
that's a ton. There's just not a ton of movies I hate that much.
You know what? The thing that surprised me the most about you when you started sending me your list of stuff, and even hearing you talk just now and seeing the Star Wars posters in the background, I didn't know you were a nerd.
Oh yeah,
you don't strike me as a
hybrid
nerd.
No, yeah, hybrid nerd. I do all the different stuff, but I mean, I got all the comic books, everything. My dogs are named Chewbacca and Obi.
Oh my god,
big time nerd. I mean, that's like I said, no one knows this bullshit that I'm talking about unless you're a nerd too.
A nerd wearing a chain.
Exactly, hybrid. You know what I mean? It's really down the middle. That's so funny. Nerd wearing a chain.
Well, that's what you do, dude. This is like
true.
When I found out that all of my black friends started liking anime, and I was like, what? This totally throws off my entire perception. So it just goes to show, don't judge a book by their cover, because there's books full of nerds.
And that was the most devastating thing, is that someone, of all the movies that you've done, the fact that somebody did The Last Jedi. There is no thing I feel more passionately about than The Last Jedi.
But listen, we can talk about The Last Jedi another time. Last Jedi is good. But Captain Marvel, that's what you've brought to me today. And you were nervous about talking about Captain Marvel. Why is that?
I am. So because as soon as the movie came out and I started telling people it sucked, it's like such a biggity type statement in 2019. I hated it. And they're like, oh, you just hate women. And I'm like, no, I hate that woman. Like, she was real bad. And I don't like the character at all. And you know what's funny about that is I'm pretty sure that Disney feels my sentiment, because I read several articles that when all the drama with Tom Holland and Spider-Man was going on, that they were like panicking and they were considering dropping her from the lead of moving forward because of her unlikability.
Right. I gotcha.
And without Spider-Man there to be the co-op to that, they weren't going to be able to pull it off. And I was like, there you go. That's correct. Because she's awful. But Spider-Man's great.
Here's the thing is, so I watched this yesterday for the first time, and this is what, your second time seeing Captain Marvel?
Oh, no. I hated it. So this is probably my fourth, fifth time.
You hate watch a lot of things? Is that your kind of steez?
What I'll do is I'll go see it with other people.
Okay.
And see what they think. And then also, like, The Last Jedi. I've seen The Last Jedi under every conceivable form of, like, consciousness. Hammered, drunks, or stoned, blah, 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 all different things. And it's still bad. And I did that with this. Like, I got really baked, almost dumber than it was sober. Saw it drunk, super dumb. And then I watched it just this morning, just crystal clear, and it was just so dumb.
It's interesting. Yeah, I feel like, dumb is a good way to describe this movie. And I think we've talked about this before outside of comedy shows, is that I am not a huge superhero movie guy. Mm-hmm. I like some sci-fi, I like some action, but the genre of superhero movies not really my bag.
Gotcha.
And it's because of movies like this that are just sort of middle of the road, quippy, and they've got funny writing because they're trying to be comic booky and they're trying to fit this vibe that Marvel has set up over the course of the entire MCU. And there's these action sequences that feel like ripoffs of other movies, and everything just feels very generic. It's like they went to, one of those penny press machines that they have at amusement parks. R.I.P. going to amusement parks. You put that in and it cranks it out and you get a design. It feels like they did that with all right, we're going to get an Academy Award winning actress. Let's run her through like the Marvel penny cranking machine and see what generic design comes out on the other end. And it happened to be Brie Larson with Captain Marvel.
And that's where I was so torn with it, because I actually really liked Brie Larson prior to this movie. Moving forward, I would like her in other roles, I'm sure. I just thought this was the most flat I've ever seen her. Like, Room is a fantastic movie, in my opinion, and she's very good in it.
Agreed.
And then in this, I was just like, the whole movie.
There's something off about her in this, man. She's such a bitch in
the movie, too. It kills me, dude. All these other female superheroes, and then everyone made it like she was the best one of the last 3 years. And I was like, Laura in X-20, and then Logan was better. Wonder Woman was better. Black Widow's been better. Scarlet Witch is better. You're killing me.
I feel like we need to, before we go further into discussing the movie, we should watch the trailer, because you can tell a lot about a movie based on the way that it's going to be marketed. And I don't remember what Captain Marvel's trailers were like, even though it only came out a year ago. So let's watch the Captain Marvel trailer. I have a feeling, based on the way the movie plays out, that it's going to be very girl power, very 90s. They're going to highlight some of the quippy moments, but let's just take a look for ourselves. Let's see what we got.
Let's see it.
Okay. You start off. She lands.
Yeah, they go for the nostalgia punch right away with the blockbuster.
Yep. Oh, it's the 90s. Guess what?
Man, I loved Blockbuster.
Got some Stranger Things vibes to it.
War is a universal language.
And you got the Sam Jackson voiceover.
I know a renegade soldier when I see one.
He was the best part, in my opinion.
Never occurred to me that one might come from above.
See, here's the thing. They even made him kind of bad.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I'll talk about that. That's
Space invasion, big car chase. Truth be told, I was ready to hang it up till I met you today. So you're not
okay.
around here.
It's hard to explain.
It's so generic.
Right? But she is the most generic part, in my opinion. Even in this trailer. It's flat.
I think I had a life here.
See, this is the part
but I can't tell if it's real.
Blows my mind is, given how girl power the movie is, they're not leaning into it in the trailer they did with Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Because it doesn't translate, I don't think, when you watch the whole movie.
Now we just did it right there, though. What makes her a hero?
We need you.
Put the her in hero right? with Captain Marvel.
Her in hero.
I'm not what you think I am.
I'm not just some girl. I'm Captain Marvel, coming to theaters.
Am I crazy to feel like her voice is literally down to her voice? It's not right for the character. It's like too soft of a tone for someone that's supposed to be this badass.
I have no idea, because I'm not a comic book nerd. Are you a guy? Have you read a lot of Captain Marvel comics?
No, I read like 3 just before the movie came out, and I was like, I don't see it.
Okay.
But I would not consider myself well-versed on Captain Marvel at all.
Me either. I mean, I'm going into this basically as blind as you're going into it then.
Yeah.
The thing that really stuck out to me is not that I'm not necessarily in the same boat as you. I don't think Brie Larson is bad in this. I don't think that Samuel L. Jackson's particularly good in it. I think that the biggest problem with the script, with the movie, is the script and the direction. They are somehow taking these good actors. You got Ben Mendelsohn in here. You got Jude Law in here.
Yeah. I thought Jude Law was good.
All these people could be very good. Annette Bening, my God, it's a good list. Right? It's a good cast, but it's just everything is so slow and labored and sad, and I hate it. It's so slow.
I mean,
the pacing's all off.
It's like two different movies. Like the first half, it's because they're trying to do the twist with the scrolls and stuff. But Ben Mendelsohn's character is like a legitimate villain for the first half of the movie, doing villain monologues before he's about to smash Samuel L. Jackson's head into the ground.
Yeah,
and then 20 minutes later, he's like, "Listen, I'm actually a good guy. I have a very compelling argument. I have literally got a black box tape of you having your life ruined by these people. Want to hear me out?" And I'm like, you could have come to her with that at any point. And instead you're running around just shooting people, and you were going to kill Sam Jackson, and now you're great. I don't know.
Right.
It didn't.
And it also, well, that's the other thing. That part stuck out to me as a problem because of where it happens in the movie. It happens at the halfway point. It happens at about an hour in. So it takes us an hour to figure out that the person who we think is the good guy is actually the bad guy, even though we've kind of already been alluding to that for a while. Instead of having that be like at the closer to the end, it should have. I was telling this to my girlfriend while we were watching it, who, by the way, her words, not mine. This movie is proof that women are not funny. This is her words, not mine. Listen, I'm just saying. I'm saying a woman said that. Okay. Anyway, point I'm trying to get to here is if it had happened 45 minutes earlier or 15 minutes later, that decision would have made more sense for them to have it revealed to her that she has actually been fighting for the bad guys this whole time. Would have made more sense.
My point is, like, how hard is it to have him strictly be defensive in that first hour so that when she looks back on, oh, this is all the times we met and you clearly weren't trying to kill anybody now that I think about it. But that wasn't the case. He was absolutely going to kill whoever got in the way. To tell her something that she was totally going to understand. Or the plan was never going to work.
Right.
If she's dead or anything like that. She has to buy in.
Everybody's motivations are all out of whack in this movie.
Dumb fucking.
It does feel like two different movies. You know what? And it feels like there's another thing that I noticed was that whole middle section where she's hanging out back in Louisiana with her friend. Sorry, what was her character's name? Maria Rambo. Great name. But when they're hanging out together, it's very clear that there's some sort of a romantic undertone that they wanted to be able to include in an earlier draft, and they were like, we're going to go for it. We're going to put, not only we're going to have a female-centric superhero movie, we're going to have a lesbian relationship with our hero and one of the other characters, and we're going to break down barriers. And then Disney and Marvel... I would have been too, because then Disney and Marvel got their hands on it, and we're like, nah, that's probably too much. I don't think we can throw all of that into a movie at once if we're gonna be the ones making it. It's such a shame because all of this stuff, it's clear that there's some sort of undertone there, but we're just not allowed to see any of that. It would have made it much more compelling. Yeah. I don't know, man.
There's tons of stuff with the story, but then there's tons of stuff with the nerd. Because you've seen Endgame, right? Have you seen most of the Marvel saga?
At this point, I've seen a lot of the stuff from the later chunk, like Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok onward. I've seen almost everything except for the Spider-Mans. Spider-Mans? What's the plural?
Two of them, yeah. Spider-Man?
The Spider-Man verse movies? Yeah. I haven't seen any of those.
Spider-Verse movie is fantastic.
Well, Spider-Verse I have seen, but not the Tom Holland ones.
He's pretty good.
Is he good?
I think so. He's my favorite Spider-Man.
Interesting. And I'm Tobey Maguire guy.
He was my second favorite.
Okay. I feel like you could be good. You got Peter some Peter Parker vibes to you. Anyone tell you that before?
No, but I'll happily take that.
Dude, you could be a Peter Parker. You'd have to go back to like being full nerd and not like having Carrot Top level jackness and wearing a chain.
This is totally unrelated, but I always thought Anton Yelchin would have been a fantastic Spider-Man when he was younger.
Oh, he would have been a good Spider-Man. He would have
been a
good Peter Parker. And you have him be an immigrant too. That adds layers to the whole Peter Parker story. Not only is he a weird kid who's bullied and dealing with all this stuff, but he's also like first generation American. Great. Wonderful. The layers, the depth. Chef's kiss. Oh, I got COVID now. Fuck, I kissed my fingers.
I'm curious. You watched with your girlfriend.
Watched with my girlfriend who had seen it. She saw it in theaters.
Oh, okay. What did she think of like the female empowerment message behind it?
She thinks that it is lost in the mess of the movie.
Okay, agreed.
The actual, like, who have you watched this movie with any women?
Yes.
Okay. What did they think while you guys were all watching it together?
Stupid. Just like, and in that way, like, it's just not as smart as people have come to expect from these Marvel movies.
Wait a minute. Do we expect Marvel movies to be smart? That's
news
to me.
I expect them to be smarter than that.
I don't think Marvel movies are supposed to be smart.
Oh, man. I love, like, Endgame. The amount of stuff they threw into one movie with all those people, I was so impressed.
That doesn't make it smart.
Oh, I love it. For superhero movies, because they can make such bad ones.
Superhero movies
these are pretty good for superhero movies.
Well, you can
Marvel
be good
characters are so eccentric.
I think that there are times when they're really in Captain Marvel specifically. I think there are times when they're sort of reaching to try and achieve that level of like Marvel wackiness, but it doesn't land. Like in the there's a clip that I have of the fight on the train. When
with the old lady,
and I want to watch that because I feel like if we could watch that maybe with the sound a little bit down so we don't hear all of the
that's one of the best parts in the movie is the Mallrats Stan Lee cameo.
Right, a classic Stan Lee cameo. Probably, and they're giving him less and less to do as he got older and older. Like,
I'm pretty sure this was it. This was
this his last one
appearance, but like he was in, and then it was CGI in Endgame.
Oh, it wasn't real in Endgame? Ugh. All right, so they're getting on the metro station. She's running. She's gonna go get on the board with the weird surfer dude, who's actually a Skrull. And we have this fun action-packed sequence about to happen. And look at this. She's been running around. And this is, again, good, generic, could be solid, could be fun. We've seen scenes like this happen in other superhero movies.
Yeah, but she, if you had to say you have a favorite superhero, who would you say?
Batman.
Okay, same. Easy. My second is Superman.
Okay.
I think everyone on the planet Earth would hate Superman if he wasn't Clark Kent.
Right.
That demeanor, that attitude. She's just this. She's just like, dude, you want to fight? The whole movie.
We get the origin story all out of order here. As opposed to starting out with the stuff we see in the middle of the movie, where we see her as Carol Danvers and learning about her background in the Air Force, and then all these weird flashbacks of her getting knocked down a bunch as a child. Yeah. All of it's told out of order.
In any other movie, right? Like Wonder Woman, she gets knocked down in battle. Mm-hmm. She gets back up every time. She's so strong. It's great. Carol Danvers, it's like, hey, Carol, you're driving way too fast. Slow down or you're going to hurt yourself. And she immediately crashes and hurts herself.
So now we're getting into, this is classic wacky Marvel movie territory right here, where we have fighting an old lady, an old lady fighting a young Brie Larson on a train. A guy who's in a cowboy suit for no reason. This is very wacky. Yeah. This is very comic booky.
And none of it makes sense because she's so strong.
Well, she's been, she's got the governor on for her powers, so she can't fully interact and do the photon shit. Not yet.
Yeah, I love that governor. What is the point of a governor that's as easy to take out of your hair as a fucking bobby pin? She just click, and she's back. I'm like, oh, dude, so stupid.
See, I don't feel like, again, all this stuff, the pacing's all weird. Like, this fight scene, fun, interesting, but it feels like it's the wrong spot in the movie. Like, if memory serves, this happened somewhere around the first 30 minutes.
Yeah,
right around that
even,
point.
Yeah.
So, if we're supposed to... It just doesn't make sense.
Literally,
I think
at the start of this scene, she blasts a guy, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, "Did you see her weapon?"
Right.
And his buddy's like, "No." And then in another scene, she shows him again, and then when she does it again, he's surprised by it a third time. I'm like, bruh, how many times you got to see this girl do this before you get the picture?
Yeah, I think we've gotten past the meat of this scene. There's a part that it just occurred to me is, as we're talking about it, it sort of furthers why this movie wound up being such a misfire. Because I think that there's a good movie in here somewhere, but the problem is we have too much movie going on here. This is one of the biggest problems of the thing. There's too much going on. There's too many stories being told, and they're all told in a weird way. The people after a certain point, Marvel started to pick up prestige directors, right?
Yeah.
People were making their movies who were not just like somebody who'd been making a superhero movie, or the Russo brothers or whatever. They started to get actual, like, good, interesting artistic directors. The Russo brothers grew from being people who were directing episodes of Community and Arrested Development into like, oh, we're going to make a version of like a political thriller, and that's interesting and cool. And, you know,
I love that. Yeah.
Taika Waititi does a great job. Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, you get that. You get who directed?
Awesome.
Taika's great. Ryan Coogler directed Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther, super good.
You know, and Ryan Coogler coming from directing all of these,
Fruitvale.
One of Fruitvale, exactly, and prestige directors coming in. And so what they tried to do for Captain Marvel was they have. Sorry, I want to make sure I get the names right. It's the duo. It's Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. And they previously had made a lot of good prestige movies. They made Half Nelson, which is a really great movie. They've made Sugar, kind of a funny story, and Mississippi Grind, all good, well-regarded movies. You know, and they've been working together for a long time, and they're all involved in the screenwriting of it too. And somewhere
just didn't translate.
It just didn't translate. I think that they tried. This is what happens when you try and make. When there's some people who can direct a superhero movie, and I think there are some people who can't direct a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It's not a genre that everyone can pull off well.
No, and some people, like Marvel has done a pretty good job of finding people that surprise me. Mm-hmm. Like what Taika did with Thor. At first, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like the funny, blah, blah, blah attitude. And then I was like, oh, that was fucking fantastic. That was so fun. Same thing with Coogler. I was like, how is he going to do this Black Panther? And then I walked out of that movie like, damn, dude, that was pretty good. They did a pretty good job with that. And just the people he brought with him and everything and all these different movies, they've gotten pretty freaking good at, like, look at DC, right? Warner Brothers just fucking collapse. Can't make a movie to save their lives. It's insane. Even though I haven't seen Birds of Prey, so I won't comment. But
I mean, I haven't seen Birds of Prey either.
But they've done pretty good at Marvel.
There's a certain element. I mean, okay, let's talk about The Last Jedi for a sec. So a lot of people I know don't like Last Jedi because of the way the film was made, and it didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. Is that part of your problem with it?
Yeah, so I look at it from a structural standpoint too. It's just a bad movie by a movie standpoint.
No, I don't know about
that. And then
that,
it's a terrible Star Wars movie.
But it's a bad Star Wars movie for a lot of Star Wars fans. Did you see any other Rian Johnson movies, either before Last Jedi came out or since it's come out? Like, did you see Knives Out?
I just watched it the other day, yeah.
Okay. What'd you think of Knives Out?
That was pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't think it was fantastic and changing the genre of the mystery or, I mean, it was,
right. It's not because it's not, well, that's the thing is he's not really experience watching Rian Johnson movies is Rian Johnson's a very good genre filmmaker in that he does things with the genre that don't feel stale. So for Brick, he made a noir movie that was modernized and updated, but still had all of the noir trappings. Knives Out, he changed the way the story is revealed and the way information is revealed to you, but it's still a mystery story at heart, and it's still a classic, like Agatha Christie style mystery.
Yes.
And Last Jedi is Rian Johnson saying, all right, I'm going to do my own version of a Star Wars movie. And so you get a Rian Johnson Star Wars movie. And some people really like it, and some people don't. I think that Captain Marvel is kind of in that boat where, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck are not who I would ever expect to make a superhero movie. Rian Johnson's not necessarily who I would expect to make a Star Wars movie. But I think the attempt by Disney I guess now it's Disney on both fronts to pull it together and try and get something interesting. I'll give them credit for that. But Captain Marvel's, it just didn't pan out right.
No,
it felt
just in defense, I will say, I think Rian Johnson could have made a good Star Wars movie outside of the main trilogy.
Yeah, I hope I know they were talking about giving him one for a little while.
I think they axed that.
Well, everything's kind of axed for now. We'll see.
Do you see that Apple's seriously considering buying Disney because of this plummeting stock market?
It's not a bad idea.
It'd be pretty wild.
I figured Apple was going to buy Netflix a year ago at least, and that still didn't manifest. I mean, now Netflix is the one to beat. There's another clip I had that's sort of, and if we're going to go back to sort of the girl power aspect, that is again, it's another, if you want to have a girl power movie, do that. If you want to have an origin story, a fun, a weird romantic story, do that. If you want to have a space sort of Guardians of the Galaxy-ish kind of movie, do that. And
that was something they missed huge in this movie. Where Guardians killed it with the music. They had this 90s opportunity to do way better music, and I thought they totally missed the mark on that.
And this is where the perfect lead in. Let's play the I'm Just a Girl clip. Because there's so many
notes about this scene. Why is it happening? At this point, she's stronger than Superman, and she's like, I'll buy you some time. Why? Escort them straight to the ship and leave. You can fight all of them at once.
This scene should be shown in film classes across the nation as just an example of what to never do. Let's roll that clip, boys.
Oh, hey, guys.
Roll that clip.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Arm wrestle for the Tesseract.
I used to find you amusing.
Lunchbox is no longer glowing. Who cares?
Oh, by the way, also, it's too dark. It's so poorly lit because they want to try and highlight effects like this, but you can't see a goddamn thing the entire time they're in space. Or even when they're not in space, in a dark cabin. Okay.
Yeah. In the beginning, it's almost impossible to see. We're on the desert planet or whatever. I'm like, oh, cool.
And cue a good old 90s girl anthem. Little Gwen Stefani.
And makes no sense because they cued it when that guy hit a jukebox that had been in space since 1989. It doesn't work, dude.
Well, who knows? Maybe Annette Bening came back from the dead to update the songs inside there.
Yeah, she's like, I got a pressing matter. No doubt.
And the editing to this music is they halfway
Marvel
decided to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Nerf gun, grow up, dude.
It's just, why is this song the one? Why? You know who could have made a better song for this whole sequence? Hollaback Girl.
Okay.
But they didn't set this movie. They didn't set this movie during the mid 2000s.
Early 2000s, yeah.
Set it during the 90s.
Which makes almost no sense. To be in the 90s.
Yeah. The only reason it's in the 90s is because they're like, well, let's do some cool old stuff. There's no reason for it. It's just
it makes no sense.
You're a fan of comic books. You're a fan of Marvel movies and superhero movies.
Yeah.
If there was something that you think could be done to fix this movie, like if you got put in charge of doing a revision to the script or the way it was edited or changing the directors or the casting, what would you change to make Captain Marvel good in your eyes?
I for sure would have changed Brie Larson. Absolutely. I don't get it. I don't see it. And I thought maybe she'd be better in the following appearances, and she was almost worse. But I actually found out that they filmed those before this movie. All her Endgame appearances and stuff were filmed before she actually shot this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I buy that.
Great.
This takes a long time to make. A lot of green screening.
That means this was her finished product. This was after she had already played the character in a couple things and then came back and was like, all right, now I really get her. And it was terrible. I would have changed her, and I would have there's small things that I, as a fan, can't overlook. The Tesseract. Mm-hmm. Where'd it come from? Tony Stark's dad found it in 1942, and S.H.I.E.L.D's had it ever since. So how did this alien chick get it, and how does S.H.I.E.L.D. know fuck all that it's just gone? And Nick Fury's never heard of the thing. And he's like, we got to find heroes. I wonder if any more exist. I'm like, how about Captain America that you've got on ice that fucking you made, that S.H.I.E.L.D. made? That doesn't make any sense. And then the sandwich cut thing. Oh, I can only eat toast if it's cut sideways, not vertically.
Yeah, you were getting mad about that before we even got on the air.
Yeah, so in the movie he says, I can't eat toast if it's cut diagonally. But in Age of Ultron, he makes a sandwich at Hawkeye's house and cuts it diagonally and starts slamming a fucking sandwich cut diagonally. And I'm like, Marvel, you wrote this, dude. How are you fucking this up?
There's too many cooks in this kitchen, dude.
Too many cooks in this kitchen, man. And then like the stuff they did with Fury's eye.
Yep.
So dumb. Just like, what? A cat?
The cat's the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah, when the character it's just that killed it for me when they made the thing that happens to Nick Fury's eye, that cat scratching him. It made no sense.
It's just them trying to be Marvel wacky.
Yeah. And it didn't work.
For a company that's been priding themselves on making like the premier versions of comic book movies that aren't gritty and realistic, this is one movie for a fucking change from the Marvel universe that could have used a little bit of more grounding and realism. And I'd never say that about superhero movies. Superhero movies are sort of allowed to exist in this wacky world.
You know, it's suspension of disbelief, right? When you watch movies like this, how far can I do that? Mm-hmm. And for me, it's small things that pull me out. When they're going to the space station, they're like, oh man, where is it? And she scans and she's like, oh, it's fucking invisible.
Right.
This is built by her fucking old friend. She didn't know it existed prior to having her memory erased. It's meant to protect these people from Kree soldiers. And Brie Larson just goes, biggity, beak, biggity, biggity, beak, on her little Kree arm piece and decloaks it. I'm like, that seems pretty fucking dumb. If any Kree could come to C-53 and just, I wonder where it is, beep, 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 and just totally reveal this hidden base and wipe out the people inside, that doesn't make any fucking sense. See, it's like your mentor was a bad mentor, and now you're a bad superhero.
And this is where we'll have our final disagreement is I feel like Brie Larson could have done a good job in this if they had the right team behind her. If you had good writers and directors who were more equipped to put together a superhero movie, it doesn't have to necessarily be not prestige directors. You can get some people who've done some good indies and some good work in the drama space, but just make sure that they know how to do a superhero movie right, know how to pace it correctly, know how to order the things right. It just feels like it's just it's such a misfire.
What do you think of this scene that they're showing right now?
Oh, the motorcycle scene?
Yeah.
Let's watch that. Let's close out with watching this motorcycle scene. I feel like this scene was added in editing because they're like, all right, we got to do something. Me Too's all in the news right now. We got to have something to comment on that.
You need a ride, darling? about a smile from me, huh?
A smile?
Yeah. I'm offering to help you. Least you could do is give me a smile.
How about a handshake? I'm Veers.
People call me the Don.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
This wasn't in the movie, right?
This wasn't in the movie.
Here's a proposition for you. You're gonna give me your jacket, your helmet, and your motorcycle.
Was this edited out?
I'm gonna let you.
Yes.
Keep your hand.
Take it.
What happened? This is not in the movie. Not in the version I saw, at least.
No, it's not. She steals the clothes off the mannequin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the clip in the movie. It was just him going inside and then it cut to that.
Yeah. What happened? Hold on.
And,
Do
here's
we know?
the thing. I'm okay with that.
I got to know what happened to that.
I remember when that came out, there was a bunch of people that were like, "Oh, well, this just makes her look bad, like an actual criminal," because the guy was just kind of being a dick, and then she stole a motorcycle.
Right.
I remember that being like there was some backlash for it.
Okay.
Weirdly
But
enough,
that's my point. It continues in the film.
Yeah.
When 10 minutes later, when Samuel L. Jackson finds her at a bar and he tells her the sandwich thing, he's like, "How do I know you're not a Skrull?" And she just fucking disintegrates a jukebox in this dive bar. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, who would like Superman if every time someone's like, "Are you Superman?" He was like, "What, dude?" And just lasered a fucking car to blow up or something. No one would like that guy.
You're right. I think at the end of the day, though, I don't think it's Brie Larson's fault that she's unlikable in this. I think it's the fault of everybody around her who wrote a bad character and told her to make and encouraged her to make choices that led to people to not like her. Because she is a perfectly capable actress. She is
exactly
just something's off. You know, it's
the
such
whole
a
brew
shame.
is wrong.
I feel like I wasted 2 hours. But I'm glad that this movie didn't have that extra little scene in there. Oh, God. I didn't even know that was even... It could have made that scene worse.
You've seen Endgame?
Yeah, I've seen Endgame.
Okay, in Endgame, she's like, "I'm going to kill Thanos." And they're like, "Hey, lady, chill out. We're trying to do it too. Where have you been?" And she's like, "Not all the other galaxies have the Avengers. I've been out helping them." And I'm like, sounds like you're horrible at your fucking job, because in the end of this movie, you're fighting Ronan, who immediately goes on to fight for Thanos, who is going planet by planet, wiping out half of the population and taking all their shit, and you haven't heard of him.
Listen, dude, this is where we get too far into Marvel lore for me to even care about anymore. So I'm just going to tap out here.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I hate it so much.
Well,
God.
I'm still going to be friends with you, even though you made me watch this middle of the road ass superhero movie. Sean, thanks for coming on during quarantine, dude. I'm glad you're doing all right.
Thanks for having me. Yes, you as well, my man.
I'm so sad. Next time, whenever we can go out and not socially distance, let's go eat some donuts together. Sean's got a great donut show called Glazed and Reviewed.
Glazed and Reviewed, baby.
Have you switched to just doing like Entenmann's donuts in the meantime while this is going on?
Yep. It's been terrible. I did Tasty Cake mini ones and Hostess mini ones. It's
okay.
Apocalypse. You know,
hey, man.
That's all I can get.
I will. Tasty Cakes are pretty good. They make a pretty solid donut.
It was rough. I mean, it's apocalypse rations, you know? It's just terrible.
Donut shops count as essential businesses. Yeah, they're food.
No, most of them are closed around me.
You gotta make some trips.
I think I'm going to try and make donuts for an episode.
Oh, that's a good idea. You can do that.
We'll see what happens there.
There you go.
People are buying all the shit, though. The end is nigh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but hey, we're going to keep shitting on movies until that nigh happens.
Absolutely.
Where can the listeners find you if they want to see some Glazed Reviewed and see some other stuff of yours?
So Instagram at Sean_Mullavey. You can check that out and see all Glazed and Reviewed and anything else that I have going on in my bedroom for the next few weeks.
Very good. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. And please in lieu of show dates, which I no longer have, I do have a Patreon for the show that you can subscribe to. It is patreon.com/blockbusting. If you sign up for it, you can get all sorts of benefits, including the Blockhead Film Club, where we watch movies together once a month. You can get access to my Plex account, where you can watch all of the movies and TV that I have accumulated over the years, including a lot of stuff that I've added over the course of this podcast. It's fun, dude. It's a good time. So sign up. Patreon.com/blockbusting. Okay, and special shout out, thank you to my Patreon patrons supporting me during this quarantine. Shout out to Paul Castle. Shout out to Drew McGuire. Shout out to Buff Mario himself, B. Wolms, Bill Wollman. And Sean, stay safe out there, dude. Thanks for coming on.
You as well, my man. I appreciate it.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.